Mutant power level classification. Many classifications have been established to classify the mutants regarding to their power set and mastery. Those classifications are called, among other names, Biomutative Classification, which include both a level of power and the type of power. A notable one uses the Greek alphabet, however, the levels are not clearly defined besides the infamous Omega level, and even Omega is quite vague. On Earth 616, the mutant classifications are rarely used, except when identifying Omega levels. Mainstream universes, Earth 616 and Earth 101001, and their futures, Earth 91172 and 2061 AD. Greek numbered classifications. Alpha level and Alpha class. Alpha level mutants, Alpha class mutants, Alpha level presences, Alpha muties, are powerful mutants. When the MLF members Moonstar, Dragoness, Forearm, Locust, Tempo, and Wildside provoked a hostage crisis, it was stated that that event involved Alpha class mutants. It is unknown if all or only part of them were included in the statement, or if it was even a true statement and not a pretext for Operation Zero Tolerance to step in. Looking for eventual members of the 12, Kitty Pryde consulted the X-Men files about the known alpha-level mutants. The results shown presented the following as alpha-level mutants: Franklin Richards, Phoenix, Legion, Professor X, Storm, Namor, Sebastian Shaw, Havoc, and Sinister, though he was not classified a mutant at the time. The record stopped to those 9 names, but proposed to pursue search, which was denied by Pryde. Later, Apocalypse, once assembled the 12, stated that 11 of them were alpha mutants: Magneto, Polaris, Storm, Iceman, Sunfire, Cyclops, Phoenix, Xavier, Cable, Bishop, and Rasputin. It should be noted that many of the aforementioned mutants have also been identified as Omega-level mutants. The Galadorians on Earth 616 also use a classification for their own and for others, the 2 known levels being Alpha class and Alpha plus class. Alpha-level telepath and Alpha Psi. Some characters have been stated to be Alpha Psi or telepaths. Birdie is an Alpha class Psi talent. Professor X is a telepath, level Alpha/1, it is unclear if that last classification concerns only the telepath level or the global level. On Earth 4935, the Parliament members of the Order of Witnesses were stated to be Alpha class Psi. Beta level. Justin Seifert's Sentinel considered that lethal force was necessary to take down Brian Reinhardt, a mutant whose mutant power level classification was Beta, demonstrated powerful ergokinetic powers. Epsilon Beta class. Galen and Joseph Bailey are stated to be Epsilon Beta class mutants. It is unclear what this signifies. Omega level and Omega class. Mutant power classifications have never been fully explained. However, Omega-level mutant, with or without hyphen, mutants with Omega-level potential, Omega-level power, Omega-level abilities, Omega mutants, or simply Omega-level or Omega, also called Omega-class mutants by Xavier Institutes and the O*N*E, Omega-levels and Omega-strength mutant by the Stepford Cuckoos, is a term that is commonly used to refer to a mutant possessing powers without foreseeable limits. Examples include Elixir's biokinesis and Legion's spontaneous mutations. Talking about Jean Grey, a grown-up Omega mutant, Beast said that on the Richter scale, she'd be a 12, and if she was a mountain, she'd be Olympus Mons on Mars. The term, initially Omega-level mutant abilities, was seemingly used at first by Fred Duncan, and quickly adopted by Charles Xavier to define some of his first students, and was described in those terms, yet what he called Omega, the last, he meant as regards to an ultimate threat, while I simply prefer to think of such mutant abilities as unlimited potential. The term was not known to Doctor Strange when he was still with Clea. Omega-level energy can be read by Shariar technology and Cerebra. Other mutants have been deemed to be only near Omega level, potential Omega class. Shariar proposed that every Omega potential with psychic powers should be terminated in order to prevent them from becoming host to the Phoenix. To be precise, Omega-level healers, telepaths, or telekinetics are not necessarily Omega-level mutants, as well as Omega-level mutants healers, telepaths, or telekinetics are not necessarily of Omega level in general. Omega-level mutant threats. Many beings, objects or events have been classified as Omega-class or Omega-level threats. Some of them are mutants and said to Omega-level mutant threats, Omega threats or Omega-level threats. On Earth 2319, the mapmakers stated that Tion, the city-nation of the mutants, was an Omega-level threat. Omega-level healers. Elixir was described as an Omega-level healer, with Omega-class healing ability. Omega-level and Omega-class telepaths. The mightier telepaths are considered to be part of a special category, the Omega level or Omega class telepaths, or people with Omega class telepathic abilities. Omega telepaths were also witnessed in the mainstream universe's Futures of Earth 91172 with the Omega-level telepath Kid Omega and in the year 2061 AD with Omega-class telepath Emma Frost. Omega-level telekinetics. Cable was described by Havoc as an Omega-level telekinetic during a burst of power caused by Blake Smith and Nathan Summers, Strife, Hope Summers' manipulations. His clone Strife is stated to possess such power as well. Hope Summers was also able to express Omega-level telekinesis by leeching Cable's powers, demonstrated in a massive telekinetic movement described by Nemesis as an Omega-level temper tantrum, as Hope was angered during the power's expression. After having stabbed Cable with a scimitar, his Omega-level telekinesis spilled out and was leached by Hope, stored and used for weeks, allowing her to form force fields, telekinetic superhuman strength, and Omega-level mind bullets, but that TK was quickly dried up. Krakoa era definition. After the formation of Krakoa as a mutant nation, Omega-level mutants were defined as a mutant whose dominant power is deemed to register or reach an undefinable upper limit of that power's specific classification. A comparison is made between Forge and Magneto. While both are said to be the most powerful mutants of their type, Magneto is Omega-level and Forge is not. This is because it is hypothetically possible to exceed the upper limits of Forge's power level. His upper limits have been surpassed by multiple humans. The upper limits of Magneto's power, however, cannot be surpassed in any observable way. After Arakko was discovered to harbor godlike mutants and Omega-level mutants, it is unknown if they share the same definition as Krakoa, as Charles Xavier's files do not go into depth on which power few known Omega-level mutants are Omega-level. So far, the only ones made known are / were a part of their government, the Great Ring of Arakko. Beyond Omega. A few mutants have been stated to be beyond Omega. Franklin Richards was classified by the Mad Celestials to be beyond Omega classification, as well as his future counterpart. According to Galactus, Franklin is the most powerful mutant ever born. It was later revealed that Franklin is not a true mutant. He unknowingly simulated the X gene with his reality warping powers due to his desire to be special. When Franklin lost his powers, he lost his pseudo-mutant status as well. Vulcan was stated to be beyond Omega level, past Omega by Professor X, and way past Omega level by Rachel Summers, after he was exposed to a massive amount of mutant energy that was expelled from mutants on M-Day. At the time, he was also fused with Darwin, who had absorbed the essence of Sway and Petra. Darwin was later separated from Vulcan, which weakened him. Despite this, Vulcan remains an immensely powerful Omega-level mutant. Matthew Malloy was stated to be more than an Omega-level mutant by Hank McCoy, being the largest mutant power source Cerebro had ever registered according to Charles Xavier, and above Omega-level power. X-Man was described by Legion to be Omega-level. More than. Is there something above that yet? If there is, he's it. Nate had the life seed when this statement was made. Arabic numbered classifications. Class 1. After a reading on Cerebro, Xavier sent Hank McCoy and Bobby Drake to investigate about a possible Class 1 mutant, who was revealed to be the gargoyle-like mutant Alistair. Alistair being described as a possible Class 1 mutant can possibly be explained by the fact X-Men First Class Special No. 1, July 2007, was released only a year after X-Men, The Last Stand, May 2006, who used the terms Class 3, 4 and 5 mutants. Level 10, Psi. Emma Frost claimed to be Level 10. If you want to support me, check out my Patreon at https://www.patreon.com/Kayashin. I tend to polls that decide important plot stuff in my P at Trian. Many thanks to my awesome patrons. Ben Phillips.
If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.